Victor Wembenyama just had the best rookie season since age 21 Tim Duncan. Yes, over 2019 Doncic, 2003 Melo and LeBron, and whoever else you believe had the best rookie season since 1990 Duncan. And I'll explain why. My name's CyberTV, but you can call me Kevin. I'm a huge sports fanatic, and basketball has probably been my favorite sport to watch, or at least follow since the early 2000s. I still have memories of Jordan on the Wiz and LeBron's high school games and dunk contests being shown on ESPN. I still have memories of LeBron getting drafted. Weirdly enough, I barely remember Melo getting drafted, and I don't remember anything else about that draft other than Luke Walton and Brian Cook getting drafted, being a Lakers fan and all. But the LeBron hype was insane, and LeBron delivered a strong rookie season that earned him Rookie of the Year. Some would argue that was a Melo's award, but to me it could have gone either way. But LeBron was not the only rookie that came with a ton of hype. Fast forward to 2007, and Greg Oden received similar hype, being the first pick in a draft that had Kevin Durant. Injuries got in the way of what would have been a likely Hall of Fame career. Fast forward to 2014, and Maple Jordan entered the scene. The much hyped heir apparent to Air Jordan took years for he to develop into a winning player. We now know that Embiid and the Taco Bell commercial guy were the best in that draft, but it would take until 2019 before we saw another massively hyped rookie. Zion was electrifying, and is still electrifying, but athletically it seems like his best was at Duke, where he was doing jaw-dropping stuff like this every game. Unfortunately, Zion barely plays rookie year due to injuries and the pandemic, but what we have seen in his career has looked good, even if a little disappointing. Fast forward to last year. Wembenyama did not have the luxury of having his game in the States like the previous number 1 picks did. But with his rare combination of freakish size, length, no diddy, athleticism, and skill, basketball fans knew going into the 2023 draft that no one else was going first. There was not a more fitting franchise for the French big man than a franchise that has a history of drafting dominant centers and international players. Wemby even wore a Parker jersey in his youth. With the Spurs, he has direct access to arguably the greatest coach in NBA history. Unfortunately for Wemby, the Spurs were dead last in SRS, simple rank system, for the 2023 season for a reason. A 29th ranked offense and a 30th ranked defense where most of the roster was under 24. Wemby was joining arguably the worst roster in the league, and it would have been too much to ask for a 19-year-old rookie to completely change it. But Wemby had a valiant effort in at least making the Spurs a more competitive squad. They won about as many games in 2024, but the 2024 Spurs had a much higher SRS. How's that possible? Well, the West this year and the league in general is just flat out stronger now than it was last year. That same Spurs team probably wins 15 games max if they had to play in this loaded West. But SRS to me is a better indicator of how strong a team is, as it adjusts for margin of victory and strength of opponents that year, and it's clear that Spurs did improve Wemby. But the season has ups and downs. In Wemby's first game he had 15 points, 5 boards, and 5 turnovers in a loss against the Mavericks. But in his second game, a 4-point victory against Houston, he had 21-12 and 3 steals and 3 blocks. The 5th game of the season was the first legendary game of Wemby's career. Historically, it reminded me a little of Jordan's third game, where he had 37 points and 6 boards against a 59-win Bucks squad, and also a win. And Wemby had a similar stat line, 38 points, 10 boards, and a win against a 49-win Sun squad featuring Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. After that game, it wasn't really a matter of if, but when Wemby was the best in the world. But more bumps came as Wemby's adjustment to the more physical NBA was still an inconsistent one. About 26 games through his NBA career, Wemby was averaging 18 points, 11 boards, 3 assists, and 4.3 stocks in exactly 30 minutes per game. But he was also shooting 43% and averaging 3.3 turnovers for a team playing at a 13-win pace with them. Something had to change, and it was the most unlikely of sources, a minutes restriction. After injuring himself right before a game against the Mavericks, Wembenyama went on a minutes restriction, and in response, his numbers somehow got better. In his next 15 games, he never went over 30 minutes, averaging 25.7 minutes per game, and yet he averaged 23.9 points, 9.1 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 4.1 stocks on 51% shooting while making 35% of his threes and 83% of his free throws. These numbers will be outstanding in 36 minutes per game, but he was somehow doing this while averaging under 26 minutes per game. This does not even fully capture his defense. Wemby was starting to figure the game out. On January 29th against the Wizards, Wemby played over 30 minutes for the first time since his injury, and in the 30 games since, he's averaged 22-11-5 with 5.6 stocks on 47% shooting, all while averaging 31 minutes per game. Wemby was also a negative .2 on the floor in the final 30 games, which sure isn't good, but given his supporting cast and being a rookie, it is pretty impressive. He has been far from the issue of the Spurs, especially on the defensive end. One demonstration of that is on and off numbers. When Wemby has been on the floor, the Spurs defense ranks 113.8, which for this season would rank 4th. But when Wemby's off the court, the Spurs defense rank drops to 120.6, which will rank in the bottom 7. On and off isn't everything, of course, but with centers, it's usually a pretty reliable indicator of how good a defender they are. I think this clip right here against the Grizzlies is the best demonstration of how good a defender Wemby already is, and the potential he has going forward. It's hard to argue against Gobert winning his 4th Defensive Player of the Year, anchoring by far the best defense in the league this season, but this season might be his last, and everyone else's last chance of winning Defensive Player of the Year for the foreseeable future. Offensively, Wemby developed his playmaking and became more comfortable creating his shot, but he's still a work in progress on that end. The turnovers are a concern, and one I hope he improves next season. But as it stands, a center that's basically a 2010 lock, dishing out about 4 or 5 assists and being a good enough 3-point shooter and free throw shooter to be respected there is extremely promising. I can definitely see Wemby being one of the best offensive players at his peak, but it will be his defense that makes Wembenyama a game breaker. If ever there's a player that could average a 5x5 for a full season, it will be this guy. Against the Lakers on February 23rd, Wemby has first and to date his only 5x5, but he had a few close calls. Will Wemby have a 5x5 season? To be honest, it's very unlikely, but he might get the closest to it since steals and blocks have been recorded. So where does Wemby's rookie season stack up? I said earlier, but I do not believe a better rookie has existed since 1998 Tim Duncan. When you compare their numbers, they are very similar, and when adjusting for minutes, Wemby has way better numbers. But one needs to remember that, 1. 1998 Tim Duncan played a much more defense-oriented era. Packed paint, no easy buckets, and slow pace, which deflates his numbers. And 2. The Spurs went 56-26, the 4th best record in the West, and the 6th best record in the entire league. Yes, Duncan had way better supporting cast around him, but Duncan himself was objectively a better player, a 21-year-old with 4 years of college experience under his belt, one of the most polished prospects we'll ever see. We know Wemby was going to be a little more unpolished. It is worth noting that Duncan was 22 by the end of that season, while Wemby started his rookie season at 19. There's no shame in considering that Duncan had a better rookie year. So then who are the candidates since? These are the candidates in my opinion. And I want to add that Griffin was more of a redshirt rookie than a true rookie, which is why he doesn't really count, but I would still argue Wemby was at least as good as 2011 Griffin. Probably a little better, honestly. But anyway, while all of these are valid, I do not believe any of them were better than Wemby this year. Now when factoring in supporting cast, talent for Melo and talent for LeBron had way better teams. Which, believe it or not, LeBron fans, he did have a better team. Trust me on that. Melo joined a Nuggets team that had one of the worst offenses ever in 2003. But the talented for Nuggets did not add just Melo. They also added the underrated Andre Miller to run the point. The talented for Cavaliers had a similar turnaround from 2003, but beyond adding LeBron, they also had a new coach and a more seasoned Boozer and Big Z, who were both better than any teammate Wemby had this season. Both solid choices, especially when you remember talented for being the peak of the dead ball, but I'm still leaning towards Wemby having the better rookie season. 2019 Luka averaged 21-8-6 for a 33-win Mavericks squad against a very tough West. Luka's defense was an issue, and his supporting cast was definitely better than what Wemby had with the Spurs. Again, I'm leaning towards Wemby having the better rookie season. So yeah, Wemby it is. And to be fair, he is the oldest rookie listed here. All the other candidates were 19, with LeBron starting his rookie season as an 18-year-old. If we were comparing age 20 Wemby with the age 20 version of LeBron, Melo, and Luka, I would only argue Melo being worse than age 20 Wemby. But then again, having a year of NBA basketball under one's belt probably helps as much as Wemby starting his NBA career year later. Ultimately, we need to see more of Victor to see if he's capable of what LeBron did from 2009 to 2013, and what Luka was able to do this year. But with his rookie year at a close, I feel good that if he stays healthy, and that's sadly a big if with his height and frame, that we're about to see something truly once in a lifetime. As LeBron himself once said about Wemby, he's an alien. So on to that. Is Wemby the best rookie since Tim Duncan? Let me know in the comments down below. The like and sub is also greatly appreciated. Cyber out.